Yeah, so we're
It'll be
doing,
in the superintendent's report, but it'll be right after. I can- Sounds good.
okay,
We're good.
okay, great. Good evening, everyone. It's a full house. I would like to call to order the Nantucket School Committee meeting for December 20th, 2022. And I am here on behalf of Dr. Tim Lepre, who's not with us. So may I begin by requesting an approval of the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Pauline.
Announce that she's on.
Yes, and Pauline Proch is on the phone with us, so we do have a quorum. And begin with comments from the public. Any comments from the public? And seeing none, we can move on to the superintendent's report.
This is one of my favorite meetings because you're all here. This is great. I'm thrilled to start the superintendent's report with some special awards and scholarships for our students. I'm going to begin with 3 awards for 3 of our seniors, and then we will move on to the scholarships. So the first award that I have to provide today is the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Academic Excellence Award. The student is chosen by the superintendent from the top 5% of the class based on their 3-year curriculum average, cumulative average GPA, their class rank, and overall academic and personal achievement. The young lady who was chosen for this award is not only very high up in her class, but highly respected by her peers and her teachers. And the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Academic Excellence Award goes to Ellie Kinsella. Come on up. Okay, oops. So the other awards being provided tonight are from the National School Development Council. These awards are for academic growth and student leadership in learning. And these go to 2 young men who have made considerable achievements in their academic careers and beyond. They are often looked up to as leaders in their classes. And I'm sorry, I said 2 gentlemen. Actually, one of them is not a gentleman. I had a little mistake on my notes. My apologies. But both are looked up to as leaders in their class and also on sports teams, peer groups, theater, etc. So the 2 recipients of the NDSC awards are Ryan Weldon and Natalie Mack. I'm sorry, Natalie. Quick writing today. Sorry about that. I also want to congratulate Natalie Mack on receiving a very special scholarship from the Daughters of the American Revolution, and this scholarship is called the Award. This Daughters of the American Revolution 2022 Good Citizen Award. So congratulations to you for that as well. So now I'm going to turn things over to Mrs. Mandy Vassell, the principal of the high school, and she's going to share the other scholarship awards that we have.
This is amazing. This looks like one of our student meetings whenever we're packed like this. Nice school committee meeting. Good evening, and thank you once again, school committee members, for allowing us, Ms. Sarah Dallas and myself, to recognize the accomplishments of our students. As you've heard me say countless times, this is probably the best part of our job. To our seniors who are receiving a scholarship this evening, congratulations for your hard work and dedication. The scholarship that you are receiving tonight is the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship for your MCAS accomplishments. The criteria for this scholarship are granted to students whose combined score places them in the top 25% of students in their district and who also meet the MCAS score requirements shown below. And I won't bore you with all those numbers. Scholarship eligibility is based on each student's first attempt at taking the next generation or legacy MCAS ELA and mathematics test. You may or may not know that students have the opportunity to take the MCAS as many times as they need to in order to pass it. It is a graduation requirement for the state of Massachusetts, but this scholarship is for those students who mastered the minimum requirement on their first time taking those tests. For students who never took a high school MCAS STE test due to the modification of CD requirements, only ELA and math scores will be used in determining the scholarship eligibility. For this graduating class, the science biology was not a requirement. It was waived because of COVID. For students who took a high school MCAS STE test in February 2020 or earlier, their STE score will be used in the eligibility determination only if doing so benefits the student. These students can meet the requirements using options 1 or 2. Please join Ms. Sarah Dallas and myself as we recognize and congratulate our students. Students, as your name is called, please come forward and receive your letter of about your scholarship. Now, one thing I will tell you, and parents, you'll want to hear this is like money. So they don't want to lose this. But just because I know how some of our teenagers are, I made copies, and it will be in their senior file. So when they get that at the end of the year, you'll have another copy, just in case. But it's just like money. So our first recipient is Kira Bokus. Lana Brissette. Eliza Brown. Kip Pacino. Gillis Cocker. I don't think he's here. Sawyer Corby. James Cronin. Olivia Davis. Rex Dixon. Kaylee Flaherty Washington. Eli Fuller. Stella Glowacki. Will Greeter. Hunter Gross. Maddox Henson. Evan Keeler. Ellie Kinsella. John Levesque. Colin Lynch. Dylan Marks. Sarah Marshall. Misho Manevsky. Kalina Necheva. Maggie O'Keefe. Justin Rothke. Kevin Serrano. Sarah Swinson. Julia Switelick. Ronan Tejada. Wes Thornwell. Ava Wague. Nina Walder. Ryan Weldon. Nice job. Gray Worthington. And last, only because of his alphabet, Gabe Zinzer. This is great practice for graduation. Thank you. Thank you all for coming this evening, and congratulations to our seniors. Great job. And by the way, that was 35 students of our senior class that received that.
Yeah, good job.
Now you'll have to
So
stay for the rest.
congratu-
Now you'll have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
No, actually, if I may, through the acting chair for today's meeting, I'm going to call a 1-minute recess to allow everyone who doesn't need to stay for our meeting to go. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome
you.
to.
You're
You're more
welcome to
than
stay.
What I am really excited about is that your son is going to be Sky Master's. Well, I
Now
hear
it's-
that. I mean, it's a. Have you seen the movie? That's it. Him. Was he? Oh, and Chloe and Tony together again because they were in. Natalie, Nathan Detroit. It's Frank Sinatra. It's Frank Sinatra in the movie. Marlon Brando. Yes. I think our recess is over.
recall
Enough
our-
theater.
yeah.
Yes. So we're just
We're going to call back to order.
I would like to call us back to order.
Okay, so I'll continue.
So we'll continue with the superintendent's report.
Okay. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the Wellness Advisory Committee. Based on a recent National School Lunch Program audit, which happened in Nantucket, and in which you will hear about at a later meeting, it has come to my attention that we need to resurrect the Nantucket Public Schools Wellness Advisory Committee. According to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, this is a requirement for schools and should include a variety of representatives such as school nurses, food services director, health and wellness teachers, school committee members, and parents. In the new year, I will be reaching out to potential advisory committee members and find a time to meet. While the While the superintendent is actually not part of this committee, according to the Department of Public Health, I would be happy to guide the committee and assist in planning their first few meetings. Please let me know which members of the committee might like to be involved. So we'll talk more about that next time. Holiday concerts, I just wanted to give a little update with 3 wonderful holiday concerts that I attended in the past 2 weeks. CPS had 2 band ensembles perform, and one for 6th grade and one for 7th and 8th grade, and I was so incredibly impressed at how much students had progressed in such a short time, especially after COVID when there really was no music, was no band, not much singing. The CPS choir also performed some challenging pieces, and I have to say that the auditorium was absolutely full to the hilt for this concert, and I was so impressed to see how many people came, both staff and parents and fellow students wanting to cheer on their classmates. So congratulations to Lane Cutts and Nick Hayden for a very successful concert for CPS. The Accidentals and Naturals also held their annual holiday dessert cabaret last week, and it was a delightful time. The students sang a variety of holiday favorites, and one, probably my favorite of the whole, was the 45 Christmas carols all jammed into 3 minutes, which I thought was wonderful. Then last week, the high school band ensemble and the high school combined choir performed a wonderful holiday concert as well. And I'm so thrilled to see, again, live music and a wonderful male section in our choir. We have more boys in our section than we have seen in many years past, so that's wonderful. Very excited about that. I'm really happy to see so many of our students opting to sing or play in our ensembles, and I congratulate Tom Pippard and Erin McKeever for their hard work in organizing and performing these concerts. And that's it. So thank you.
Great.
Questions?
Thank you. Any questions, Esmeralda?
Yeah.
Emily? Okay. Pauline?
No questions, thanks.
Next, we'll have presentations and discussions of issues of interest to the committee, beginning with the nursing program update. Jessica Douglas.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess Douglas. I've been with the school system since 2013 in multiple different school nurses or subs or teacher. Our current program in the high school for nursing and allied health, this is the 7th year we've had this class, Intro to Nursing, and this is the first year we've had Nursing 2. Intro is a semester-long course, and Nursing 2 is a year-long, and it's nursing and allied health, so it's also X-ray, lab, admitting clerk, anything you can think of related to healthcare. So our Intro to Nursing curriculum, we start with professionalism, we go over communication, infection control, explore some different healthcare careers. We've gone over safety and precautions, different healthcare systems, legal responsibilities. We haven't hit yet medical terminology, but client status, vital signs, emergency care, they just finished that. They did an amazing job with that. And we're going to finish with job-seeking skills like resumes, cover letters, and interview skills. But you can see here we were doing our PPE, all of our gowning for the different precautions. We did a fire safety evacuation from a 2nd floor down to the ground floor, and transferring from a bed to wheelchair. All right, Nursing 2, since it's a full year, we cover a lot more. We cover what we cover in Nursing 1, but also intake and output, nutrition elimination, domestic violence, diseases, disorders, behavioral health, dementia care, get a little bit more into the cultural aspects of healthcare. But we had the fire department came, we practiced backboarding and collaring. We've done a lot with vital signs, patient comfort and repositioning. I think on the far side there is Stop the Bleed program. And we've done a little bit into pediatrics too. You can see Olivia there with giving oxygen to a little one. So Nursing 2, we're hoping to start clinicals semester 2 on Tuesdays. wear scrubs. They will go through a hospital orientation, HIPAA training. We'll start in the sim lab, practicing our skills before we end up on the patient floor. Future plans, I'm hoping that we can grow this program into like a full pathway, like 9th grade through 12th grade, and where the kids can get certified by the end of it by taking this a CNA certification exam. So they would have 75 hours in the classroom, 16 in the SIB lab, and 21 in clinical. And here's just a couple pictures of sample sim labs from where I went to college. And this is where Mandy, you're up.
So I want to just thank Ms. Bardsley, or Dr. Bardsley, sorry, who has helped with this. We've met and we've talked about the nursing program. What we're looking to do is that it will be part of our innovation pathways as well as a vocational career pathway for students going forward. So next year, we're looking that Nurse Douglas will be a .6 person where she's .4 now. What we want is that the nursing 2 should be a double block class so that they have more time for their clinicals, they're getting more hours in, and we're hoping, as we move forward, that we'll actually be able to set up a sim lab in our own school. I don't know that that'll be next year, but potentially in the future or near future. But they'll still be able to use Cottage Hospital. We're working on a memorandum of agreement with the hospital on what we'll be doing for those clinicals. So what our thoughts are is, in order to address all 4 years, 9th through 12th grade, is the semester course that's being taught now would be an exploratory class for 9th graders, potentially 9th or 10th grade. They could take the Nursing 1 in 10th grade, which is a current semester course, what could potentially become a 1-year course. And then 11th grade, students would have the option to start working on their clinical. And we talked about a couple of different ways, because we know a lot of students have a lot of different other things going on, school to career when they're seniors, and different things that they want to do. So we could do the double block class 2 different ways. They could take Part A in their 11th grade year and as 1 block, and then take Part B their senior year as their 2nd block. Or they could take both blocks their junior year and then do school to career in the nursing field or at the hospital or potentially in a doctor's office here on the island their senior year. So we're looking at it from a lens of being able to offer as many opportunities to our students, and we want to ensure, oh, I'm sorry, I just messed something up. I just didn't think I touched anything. Oh, sorry. So, you know, we know that our students have a lot of different things that they're taking, so we want to try to make it as easy for them to take the course, because we think that there's a lot of value here. And I'm sure if Dr. Lepre was here with us, he would be saying yes, yes, yes. And I can't tell you how much fun it is to watch Jess with the students this year and the different things that they're doing. You'll be in the hallway, and next thing you know, there's some kids coming down the hall with the wheelchair. Now, I'm not going to lie, the first couple of times I saw that, I went, are you guys all right? But, you know, it's part of their practice. So it's really great to see them, and they're really excited about it. One of our concerns, and the reason why we're taking this a step at a time, is that we want to ensure that we have the number of students that we need in order to keep the program growing. We don't want to just jump in, with a full-time position next year, and then we don't have enough students to commit a double block in order to be able to do what should be done in order to take their test, get the CNA certification. What we think is that we will be having students, right, that will have their CNA certification when they graduate, and they'll walk right into a job, right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. I think that's it, isn't it?
There's one more, our alumni. Oh, did you go backwards or?
Nope.
Okay.
This is-
Endless-
so-
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So this is we're looking at like future space. So right now, Jess is actually sharing space with our horticulture teacher, who is also part-time. as we move forward and grow the program, we're hoping to find better space for the nursing program so that there is lab space as well as instructional space. We're not sure where that's going to come yet, but we're working on it. And I'll let you take over.
Yeah, I try to send out a newsletter each week, so here's some sample ones. But I've gotten great feedback from the parents. They like seeing what their kids are up to. And these are some of our graduates. We've got Maddie Iller, who's an EMT down in D.C. Kayla McGrady was class of 16 in my very first nursing class, and now I work alongside her as an RN in the hospital. Luisa Taveras was one of our medical interpreters. Ethan Fye is one of our paramedics or EMTs. Tatiana is in nursing school but works summers at the hospital. Christian Astelford was started in the lab, and now he's Dr. Pearl's medical assistant. He's doing great. Audrey Snell works in town, I think at one of like the beauty places, but like lip injections and stuff. But she's also sometimes works as a school nurse. Elias Lowry just graduated, got his RN, and then I have 4 grads right in the middle who are all part of Robert's Family Dental, and it's just Kenya. There's 2 Kenyas, but one was my student, and now she's cleaning my daughter's teeth, so I couldn't be more proud. And I have 2 amazing students right here who are in my class currently, so I just love it. They're fabulous. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Jess. It's extraordinary to have a program like this. Congratulations for all that you have done and the work on this. Are there any questions, Esmeralda?
No questions, just ditto.
Yeah, awesome job. No questions. Thank you. Keep it up. Find that space.
Pauline? Pauline, do you have any questions?
Not a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Not a question, just a huge thank you to Jess for bringing so much to this program. You've gone above and beyond. And I also want to congratulate you on your recent certification as nurse educator. Yes. So congratulations on that.
Great. Next, we have budget development, facilities and grounds, IT technology with Martin, Diane, and Jennifer.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Diane O'Neill. I'm the Director of Facilities and Grounds here at the public schools. And my FY24 budget is pretty level. I didn't really ask for, well, we did ask for some increases for fuel, but we're holding off on that for now until the union contracts are settled. So this should be considered a preliminary budget, except for I am asking for another grounds person this year. Don't normally ask for more people, but I think it's really become critical that we add a full-time person. We've added 12 acres to our campus in the last 5 or 6 years. We've added properties, and we just added a beautiful baseball field, and we need more staff to be able to maintain this. There's more and more academic classes being held outside. Our fields are grossly overused, and we really need some more help to maintain them properly. That's really all I have. Our budget is $4.6 million, just shy of $4.6 million, which is 13% of the total school committee budget. 51% of that is payroll, 23% is utilities, and the rest is made up services, phone, and supplies. I don't have any other increases this year, other than I know fuel will take precedence once that contract is settled. So.
Any questions, Esmeralda?
One question. Will the baseball field be used this season?
The baseball field, yes,
Okay.
will be able to be used probably, when do you start, Travis? March something? Third Monday in March, it should be fine. The tennis courts will be a different story because the company that surfaces the courts did not do it this fall, not from lack of coaxing, because we really tried to get it done this fall. Now they're saying probably the first week in May, they'll come in and coat the courts, and we're all set up otherwise. We have the stands, we have the nets, everything else is pretty much done, other than the keypads on the gates. I know the community school is working on some programs they're going to run there this summer, which we're really excited about. But yes, the baseball will be open for play.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I just have one question. It's a full-time person that you were
Yes,
wanting to add.
full-time year-round.
Mhm. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jen Erickson, Director of Technology, Nantucket Public Schools. My budget also is pretty much level funded. There were some inflationary increases, specifically on the software line items and the professional services. Both of those were a few of the individual companies that we have contracts with every year and/or we do maintenance with, had increased, a couple of them as much as 10%. So Martin was able to build those amounts into those line items just as an inflationary increase. Other than that, there are quite a few projects that will be coming up in the next year and a half, but most of those are being dealt with either with end-of-year funding or with the capital that we will be getting for technology on July 1st. So we are still funding the Chromebook program for 6th and 9th grade out of the hardware budget, along with, I think I've reviewed in the last year a couple of times with our switching over to using a different kind of web filtering and monitoring, which is interesting. The kids are, they're trying really hard to get around it, and they're having some difficulty, which is a good thing. To say nothing of the fact that we're really flagging some children in need and that kind of thing. I guess that's about it. I guess on the percentages, the technology budget continues to be 3% of the whole school budget. And payroll has gone up to 59% this year with the addition of our new tech integrationist, Morgan Smith-Jones. So,
That's right. Thank you, Jen. Any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin? Are you up? Oh, you have nothing? No, I do not.
Now, usually the directors or principals present, and I'm here to provide any kind of background information that you might need about the budgets. So if you have any questions about numbers or any individual budgets, I can answer it all.
Thank you. Thank you. So the ELL department update.
So thank you, everybody. I'm putting on my EL acting director hat. And the first thing I want to say is I am so proud of this group of people right here. They have come so far without an EL director this year, and it has been a challenge. And I appreciate their patience and grace with me. So to start off, this is who we are. We've got 5 teachers at our elementary school, and I'm going to let them introduce their teachers and themselves when they come up. But this basically is who we've got. We have 3 teachers at NIS. We have 2 teachers at CPS, and then 2 teachers also at NHS, with assistance from Catherine Norton, who is in the district, but she's working primarily at the high school this year. And then, of course, we have our district as well. So the enrollment data for English learners this year, up to date, we have 46.5% of all students in Nantucket Public Schools speak a language other than English at home. It's pretty impressive. That's almost half of our students. 17.3% of all Nantucket students are English learners, and that's a very high percentage. If you would look at that in similarity and comparison with some urban districts, it's actually comparative, which is pretty interesting. And that makes our job really challenging, but also very rewarding. So, and finally, Nantucket's EL population accounts for 12% of the state's total EL population, which is pretty interesting. Wow. So that means that we have a large contribution to our ELs across the state. When we break down by school, we see that NES has the largest number, which is 116, NIS at 59. I'm trying to get rid of this little square here. Hold on. I can't find my cursor. You want to help me? Because I can't tell you the other ones at the other two schools. Thank you. There we go. CPS at 48 Ls and in the high school at 75. These numbers are constantly shifting as we have Ls that come in all year round, and with a lot of our Ls coming from Central and South America, we do see an uptick in enrollments after the holiday season. It is because in South America, that's when school starts. So that'll be interesting to see where things go. So how are our English learners identified? Well, we start at central registration with a home language survey. All of our families are expected to fill out a home language survey, which identifies if there is another language spoken at home. If we see any other language that is spoken at home, then we are then identifying a child as needing a screening. And the screeners that we use are the WIDA screener for kindergarten. And this is just very simple. Usually it's just a listening and speaking screener. Or we do a WIDA screener online for all of our other students, where students sit down and do a small smattering of testing that is that touches on the 4 domains: reading, speaking, listening, and writing. That's okay. So English learner instruction. Once we have identified an English learner, we notify our parents and let them know that they will be receiving English learner services. And these are the expectations from the state of Massachusetts. We take the access for ELs every year to identify proficiency levels of students. And this is the expectation for instruction. At the foundational level, which is WIDA level 1, 2, and 3, we have the recommendation, if you look onto the right, at least 2 to 3 periods, and a period is not less than 45 minutes per day of direct ESL instruction. And this has to be delivered by an ESL teacher. So this cannot be delivered by a classroom teacher. It must be delivered by someone who is ESL certified. For our transitional groups, which is WIDA level 3, 4, and 5, these are students that have a higher proficiency level. We actually do not serve level 6, even though that's on there. That is really rare, and I'm not sure why the state has included that in their grouping, because no district in the state provides services to level 6. But this is anybody who is an overall score 2.5 or higher, and then these students will receive at least 1 period a day, and again, not less than 45 minutes of direct ESL instruction, and that has to be delivered by an ESL licensed teacher. When students get to the point where they have gained enough English proficiency and they are ready to move into a regular mainstream classroom without the same supports that they get in an ESL classroom, but still with supports that provide assistance with sheltered instruction, we can reclassify them. They become a former English learner, FEL or FEL. Hold on, can you go back 1 second? So that is determined through the WIDA access for ELs. We have an annual test that we give every year, and that will determine how and when a student is able to reclassify. You can go on, thank you. So the considerations for reclassification have to be access for ELs, and this is how we identify students for candidates for reclassification. Students have to have met a 4.2 overall access score and a 3.9 access literacy score. They cannot be considered for reclassification if they have not arrived at those scores. But there is other data that is used, and even if a student has achieved those scores, they can be kept in ESL classrooms if necessary. Sometimes it is a necessity to provide additional assistance. So other data that's used to determine whether a student is going to move from English learner to FEL classification includes reading assessments, other academic assessments. We use MAP, we use DRA, MCAS, Fontes and Pinnell. Academic grades, we certainly want to make sure our Ls are being successful in mainstream classes, academic classes. Teacher recommendations, classroom observations, and our can-do descriptors, which are very important to help us to understand where they are, what things they can do, and how they can be successful in any classroom. Go ahead. And now I'm going to turn this over to Nicole to continue. Thanks.
Well, we have lots to celebrate at NES this year. First being that we have a full team. And something else that's really great about this team is that we are all multilingual learners. Everyone here has a home language other than, or not other than English, but they've learned another language. And so that really helps us set up for success for our youngest learners. And so our new team members this year are Jerry Holmes, Jocelyn Ramirez, and Sophia Popova. And we have split it that Jerry and Jocelyn and Sophia are working with first and second grade students. And we do both a push-in and a pull-out model, meaning that students will leave their classroom to come to an ESL classroom for a specified amount of time. It might be 45 minutes, it might be 90 minutes. And then we also will push in to support them in their classrooms. And so something that's really great this year is that we've really worked as a team so for instance, Jerry may pull out the second graders in his classroom, but then might go to, and he does, go to push in support some of the kindergarten students I work with. So it's really great, so we're working as a multi-pronged approach with that. And something else that's been really great about having a full team is that we've been able to have some fluidity between the groups to best meet the students' needs. So if a student starts as a level 2 proficiency level, we might be able to push them up to give them more of a challenge with a higher proficiency level group because we have the team to support it. So you can see our caseload is broken down, and that caseload is for the students that actually come to our classrooms in our physical space, and otherwise we all are working with the other students throughout the day. So please change it. Thank you. So this is our access data. I don't want to dwell on this too much because it's really old data by the time it's even released. So much growth happens for all of our students between January and June. We take the test in January, and then June is when the results are come out, but especially for our youngest learners. I mean, if you think about a kindergartner, that's almost half of their schooling in that time frame. So I just don't think that this is, yes, it's important and it's crucial, but it's not something we need to dwell on, especially at the lower grades. But something I'd really like everyone to bear in mind is that these are the youngest students in our district to take a standardized test because MCAS doesn't start until 3rd grade. So I think that's really something to think about, that even our kindergartners, it's not the same standardized test, it's one-on-one, but we're still asking that of these students that are thinking in a second language all day, every day. Mm-hmm. And so this is just a quick little snapshot of what's going on right now in our ESL classrooms. So right now, all of our units are calibrated to be working on the same focus language goals. And so they're all working on the focus language goal of explain. And grade 2 is writing about animals and habitats. Grade 1 is doing some comparing and contrasting for living and non-living things. You can see some of their writing as well. And then kindergarten is also working on some comparing and contrasting. And so I just have a quick little video of kindergartners in action. You can hear them speaking. Please bear in mind that they all, or 33 out of the 43 of them, started as a proficiency level 1. And because they're thinking and speaking and working in English language all day long in their classrooms, that they make tremendous growth in the first 3 months of school. So this is a little girl that started in a level 1, and you can hear her now. Oh, or maybe not. Okay, well, no big deal. If people have access to it, if not, I can always send it to school committee if you would like it.
I'd like it.
Okay, I will
I
send it
have
to
it right here.
You should.
I feel selfish watching. But I wonder if I picked up the signal. Is that possible?
Nope.
Oh, there she's gone.
She sounds so cute.
Yeah, that's me.
It's not adorable.
Okay, it's okay. I can send it to school committee. I will send it to you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have to click next?
We'll click for you.
Sorry, I guess I need permission.
Oh,
Request access.
yeah. I just want to get out of that.
Yeah, me too. I'm not touching anything.
There it is. Now hit present.
So, I apologize, I did not.
We don't have the videos.
Yep.
Just go to the next slide.
It won't
Gotta
advance
hit
is the
escape
problem.
again.
And then go to the next
And then
one.
hit slideshow and then.
There we go.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I guess like that.
All right, sorry about that.
All right. Hi, I'm Janet Giles. I am one of the ESL teachers or multilingual learner teachers at Nantucket Intermediate School. I have, working with me down there, I have Lauren Gabriel and Tina Fournier, who's in the audience with us today. I kind of broke down our caseloads. If you look at our caseloads, it's a little, oh, my caseload is not 27. Oh, yes, it is 27. Sorry, I'm thinking of Nicole's 40, and I got a little nervous. I have a higher caseload because I mainly work with students who are transitioning or high transitional students who are hopefully going to be leaving the program. Lauren is working with mostly newcomers in third grade as well as students in the IDSC or students with severe needs who are working in the options program. So her class dynamic is a little different, and a lot different actually, than Tina and mine. Tina is working, she's doing a mostly pull-out model, and she's working with newcomers in grades 4 and 5, and she does have some transitional students as well. So it's kind of a breakdown of what we're doing, and we are, for the most part, doing all pull-out at NIS, no push-in this year. Again, as Nicole said, this data is from January of last year, almost an entire year old. Couple things to pay attention to, I guess, is listening. The majority of students at NIS are at reaching level 6 for listening. The others, if you take a look, speaking is more in the middle at a 3 or a 4. Reading, a little lower at a level 3. And writing is at a 37%, which is a level 4. So we have some work to do in reading and writing. However, listening and speaking are doing all right. Sorry. Oh boy. So throughout the year, students are working on listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and I had a couple videos to share, but if the sound isn't working, that's fine. The beginning of the year, the photos on the right and the one video is of students talking about how bilingualism is an asset, and they're multilingual learners. It's not a deficit, it's an asset. So these are all of the things that they can do because they are bilingual. They can read, they can help people, they have excellent memory and thinking abilities. So I just wanted to share some of that. On the left, there's scientists. Students do because it's not just English that they're learning. They're learning the language, and it's for, right? The language for science, the language for math. So there are some students participating in science experiments. And then to practice for the speaking test, which is one of the domains for the access test, they have to speak into a headset with a microphone, and it can be extremely scary for them, and it's an awkward situation to be recording into a headset. So students are doing a lot of practice with that at our school. And that's what some of these recordings are of them practicing so that they can be successful. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Kailani Diaz. I am at CPS. CPS has two ESL teachers, myself and Miss Maxon. We receive the kids in our classroom for a regular class. They have our class in their schedule, so it's a direct instruction, so they know what time to come. So, and we have we were able to divide in 5 levels at CPS. I teach entering, emerging, developing, and Mix Maxon teaches expanding and bridging. And we are so blessed to have found this National Geographic books that are perfect for each one of this level. We have one for each level, and it's amazing having that as a foundation, as like a skeleton, so we can build it up, having what we need there in front of us, so we know exactly where to go next. And from entering to emerging, we know where we finish, where they're going to start. So it's a very good map. The access data, again, it's a year old or more. I always, when I think of the access data, I always think of the order of the learning and how students are always able to comprehend, to listen, and to read before they are able to express themselves, to speak or to write. So when we see this data, we can match this, because even though your students not speaking and not writing exactly what you're expecting, the student is understanding and able to comprehend what it is asked for. So next. This is a little bit of what we do inside our classrooms. I love to work, Ms. Maxon and I, we love to work bringing their culture, their country, their families to our classroom. So we are always connecting what they did there to what they are doing now. In my class, for example, I have entering and emerging students. They just arrived from a different country. So sometimes they are less than a year here in the United States. It is very meaningful to them to be able to express and to talk about the things that they did in their countries and connect that in a way that they can learn the language through what they already know. I also, there is one picture at the bottom. I love to do this project with them when they interview other immigrants of success. So they see and talk to people who came to this country just like them, and not speaking the language, without documentation, just like them. And they see the growth, they see the achievement, they see where they are right now. Last year, we were able to interview a doctor, a pilot, interpreter, who else? Well, this year we interviewed a veterinarian and a nurse. So it was very special. It was very special for them to look and to see their stories and to reflect where they can go, who they can be. This is another project that CPS is proud. The book writing. Students write books. They write narratives. We publish them. And after that, we do readings for their families. We meet in the library to read to other students. And inside these books, they have like a, what is it called? QR code? Like a thing that if you put your cell phone there, you will hear the author of the book reading the book to you. It's so cool. Okay, hopes and dreams. I was told they could write anything here, so here I go. A school schedule that allows for ESL classes to be grouped by English language development level, not by grade. So I really hope that next school year or the years to come, I can have a class with 6, 7, and 8 graders entering together. And for developing 6, 7, and 8 graders together, and for expanding 6, 7, and 8 graders together. I think having larger classes are very meaningful for the students and for the work that we do. And also a continued deliberate effort to hire linguistically diverse staff and educators. Students are inspired when they see and hear teachers from different backgrounds who look and sound like them. I had a conversation with some of my students the other day, and they were telling me how afraid they are to speak in public because of their accent. And I'm like, hey, look at me. And they're like, I know, Mrs. Diaz, right? So if I can speak, so can you. And it was very cool to see how after that, they were like, huh, I can do that too. And I think if we have more and more staff and teachers that sound like that, students will be more comfortable just to open and fly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Devin Durand. I'm a high school ESL teacher. My coworker, primary coworkers, I should say, Maria Rubina, she couldn't be here tonight, and Catherine Norton, who is always around. Lillian Sosa, I put Lillian Sosa on here. Well, Catherine put her on here, but she's a bilingual teacher, and she's working with the Apex program, which I'll get into in a little bit. But she does support our ESL students in that program, and generally in the high school. So as like Kailani said, bilingual teacher is always helpful, especially with the newcomers and the lower level ELD kids. Access data. More of the same. Here are some student pictures, just a few pictures that Miss Rubina sent to me, and a couple of my own here of students getting some work done in the classroom. Yeah, hopes and dreams. Well, here's the Apex program. The Apex program is an online credit recovery program that allows students to earn credits for high school courses. So they take that class, and they are basically in their own little world online. Ms. Sosa is sort of the teacher in that classroom, helping different students with different course material. A lot of the high school students, especially the newcomer kids, and we saw last year that we had a large increase in that newcomer group, especially around this time of year. And we actually needed to split the group because we had newcomer kids that showed up in September who were really no longer newcomers like the newcomers that came in December and January, who are true newcomers with very little. It would just be repeating the course if they go into that. So I think we've kind of figured out how to fix that problem this year by running the entering, which is the brand newcomers, and the emerging group at the same time, the same blocks during the day. So as we get more newcomers into the newcomer class, and that class grows, and you find that there are some students who excel as newcomers and are good students and have support at home, they are able to then keep their schedules the same and move into the other class. And we can control the class sizes and the ELD levels by doing that. So the first thing I have here, it's a tool. This Apex class is a tool for students who have limited or interrupted formal education. These are kids that either just went to work on the farm for a year or two, or maybe finished the 6th grade and then decided to come. I think it's important to remember that a lot of the high school newcomer kids came as unaccompanied minors to this country, and so they have passed through detention and are in the process of, becoming naturalized citizens. And typically, most of them have lawyers, and right, they have their cases being processed through the judicial system, so that they can become citizens. They're under the temporary protected status as we have now. So, that has issues on its own of like who's caring for these kids, and a lot of times it's cousins or friends or brothers or uncles. Sometimes it's parents, the ones that have parents supporting them typically do better in school. So the SLIFE kids, if they're 14, 15, 17, 18 years old, 19 years old, right? They want time to pay some bills, right? They have to pay their attorneys, they have to pay rent, they got to pay food. So these kids go to work a lot of times after school, and they're 19, 20 years old, right? They want to get out of school. So a good way for them to catch up with course credits is through the Apex program. Like I said, the number 2 priority is given to students who are in danger of aging out of school so that we can get them their credits and get them moved on to the next phase of their life. The Apex is great because it is translatable, right? It's easy to translate the course material. If they are newcomers or emerging ESL students, then they can still access their biology or their math or their whatever material that they need to make credit in. It's a self-paced learning, so if they need 3, 4 credits, they can work hard at that and get that done. So that's a great program. The other thing I have on here, I just want to highlight that program because it's quite useful for the students, and I'd love to see that continue. I think it's successful. The other part is the school to career, the vocational training stuff, which you got to see tonight with Ms. Douglas, and the nursing program, which is fabulous. I'd love to see more ESL students in that realm. I can tell you that when it comes time for students to register for classes, the end of the year, end of the school year, they start getting ready for the next year's classes. Many of my students, the newcomer, the ESL students in general, they want to sign up for the vocational stuff. They want to take woodshop. They want to do mechanics. And I think woodshop is very popular. And I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure that there's a lot of kids that don't get into the wood shop because, he can teach 5 sections with 15 kids a section, maybe 12 max in that class. So that's not a lot. And I think as Nantucketers, right, we know what runs the economy out here, right? And I think we would do well to continue with that vein and continue to expand on some of those vocational things so that we can get those kids working right after high school. So the other thing we have on there, Spanish and Portuguese teaching assistants. It's always good to have, right, that ability to connect with the student who is in a chemistry class or a biology class or whatever the class is, and it's difficult for them to access the material, to have those TAs that are multilingual. So hopes and dreams on that as well. And I'll pass it over to Catherine Norton. Thanks.
Don't go far. Here I am hovering again.
Yeah.
I'm Catherine Norton. I am the student-centered sheltered English immersion instructional coach. That's a mouthful. So basically what I do, you can just click it once. I connect with and collaborate with teachers to support multilingual learners, just bringing my neurodivergent multilingual brain to the table. So we reflect on what students know, what we know about them and what the data shows about the students. And we work together and I ask the question, what do we need to do to make your content accessible to the learners in your classroom? So based on who they are and who's in the classroom, what can we do to get them on board? We do go through the steps for equity, planning with the end in mind. And I ask teachers to just answer the question, what do you exactly want your students to say at the end of this to demonstrate knowledge? What do you want the writing to look like? And we build it backwards from there. We create supports together. Sometimes we tandem teach. We try new strategies. And basically to get to the point of a scaffold, like what does a student need to be successful with this topic or that topic, we talk through scaffolds as thinking partners. So it's pretty low intensity. I say that, I'm pretty intense, but I like to keep, it's volunteer, so it's teachers who want to work with me to talk through. So it's really cool. Mostly, and oftentimes we have visuals, posters, handouts, step-by-steps, guides, things like that. And I introduce, games and whatever for guided, for vocabulary and talking about guided conversations and some just trying activities, collaborative learning techniques that teachers sometimes I think would be maybe not perfect for a high school class, but are really necessary. And I think there's one last one on here. And my work is basically watching the students instead of the teacher. So I'm not looking at what the teacher is doing, but how the students are reacting to the scaffold or the support in the classroom so we can do more of what's working and just sort of getting teachers on board with seeing how students learn in the best way possible. These are just some examples of things that we've done. So like force acceleration equations, which my mother would be shocked to hear that roll off my tongue. I go to classes, I see what's happening. I visualize the steps in my own mind. What do I think I would need to be able to do this? I ask questions of the teacher in the moment as if I were a student, which is kind of funny. And then I add academic language and we sort of put together, say like a step-by-step. This was just one that we did last week. And then the students use it in the room and they find success being able to step-by-step it in a way that includes language and gives sort of background. For example, when a student sees the symbol for sum of force equals mass times acceleration, they don't necessarily know how to say those things, so I give the sort of text beneath it so that when students are asked for, like, what's the formula for force, they can easily just say exactly what it is. The sum of the force is mass times acceleration. And it's helpful to them to just kind of keep the conversation going. And next one is just a few other things, like so guided conversations, sentence frames, partner A, partner B conversations around cations and anions and chemical bonds, all the things everyone really wants to know about. So some like games that we play, some activities. You can see the students. I'm even in there doing the activity because it's actually kind of fun to learn new things. So it's been really interesting for me to learn physics and chemistry because in algebra, I love to go to those classes 30 years later. Good times. And that's it. And I think I'm going to pass it back to you for the big hopes and dreams.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, again, I would just want to thank this team. They have really stepped up without a leader, and that's the first thing on our hopes and dreams. We need to find an L director. We started the year over the summer looking for L directors, continued it into the fall, and we're not finding quality candidates. So we decided as a group that we would change the structure a little bit and move into a more leadership, teacher leadership situation, and they have been phenomenal and remarkable. So I'm just so thankful for all of you. They deserve a director that is dedicated to them, not someone who used to love what she did in that role, but doesn't have as much time to dedicate. So I'm really looking forward to finding the appropriate person to fill that role. We hope to bring on an additional SEI coach. As you heard from Catherine, it is a really great experience for teachers to have a coach there to support them as they're learning to work with ELs. It is a hard job, especially because you may have students in your class that are able to, who understand the content, but struggle with the language. And so having an SEI coach to show how you can provide scaffolds, provide assistance is really important. And because Catherine has really spent a lot of her time at the high school, because the numbers have been so large, and we see even more students going up next year, we know that we're going to need an additional coach to really focus on grades 3 through 8. So we hope that that will be the case for next year. We also understand the importance of strengthening our foundational ESL instruction for our newcomers, for our struggling ELs, and for our SLIFE students. SLIFE, again, is the students with limited or interrupted formal education, those who came with a 6th grade education that Devin spoke about. And so we know that we need to continue to develop curriculum around that, and we need to continue to find appropriate curriculum to support these students. We want to continue to reinforce multilingual parent engagement. We have a wonderful resource in the community, which is our multilingual community, and we want to we incorporate them more in our schools and in what we do every day. So we need to find ways to reach out to them and to meet them where they are and what they need from us. So we're working on that. And I think it's time for us to begin discussion on a two-way bilingual program. And so we hope to start a steering committee as soon as possible. The way that this would run, or the way that we would imagine it to run, would be to start with the foundational levels. So looking at a possible two-way bilingual kindergarten to start and see where that would go. But in the meantime, we need to at least create the steering committee and start the research. And I think that's it, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to add. So there we go.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Esmeralda?
No questions, just thank you very much for all your hard work.
Pauline?
No questions. Thank you for a great presentation.
Rocky?
I have questions, thank you. My first question is for Ms. Ridge. When you have the information sent home, how you figure out who the ELL students, what do you do, when do you find out who's going to be in your, is it pre-K or K when you find that out?
It starts in kindergarten. So what will happen is Dr. Hallett spoke about the home language survey. And so the home language survey will identify any home language other than English on it. And so at that point in kindergarten, I will give them the screener test. It's called the Weider screener. And it tests for their oral language specifically. So in the beginning of kindergarten, it's for listening and speaking. And it's really actually kind of a fun way to get to know kids. It's like a game. And so it's really, it's not painful for them at all. And I know that I've done a good job when they ask that they can play the game again. So, and that is what will determine their proficiency level from that point. So as I said before, 33 out of the 43 students that qualified for ESL services this year scored a level 1. The other 10 scored a level 2 and a level 3. So a very, very low proficiency level in English. And I think some of that, I mean, that's close to what it is most years, but this year I think also from pandemic and not having the community exposure that they might otherwise.
And what's the cutoff date on that screening?
It will go the whole year.
So someone can come in November and still be placed?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if a new student enrolls tomorrow, I will screen them by the end of the week, and they'll have the same screening.
Okay. My next question is for Ms. Diaz. I thought it was really cool, the program you did when you were interviewing other people. And what I noticed about your presentation is that all of their presentations were written in English. My question to you is, when they were interviewing the people, did they interview them in English or the native language?
We prepare questions together, so we study about jobs, and we study about questions, how to make a question. and we study about like what, how, when, where. So this kind of questions. So after we have this unit on how to ask questions, we do the interview. First we do write together, and then we edit together. They decide what question will make the interview, what questions they are taking out of the interview, and then when we have our guest, they ask the question in English. The guest answer the question in English, but I'm always there to translate so they can understand. And
Okay, thank you. In closing, I just want to say, we know how hard it is to teach these days. All teachers have it tough, but trying to teach it in 2 languages, good on you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question for the NHS team. How many students would you say are in that upper range where there's a danger that they're going to age out of high school?
I think last year we had 2, maybe.
Okay.
And then this year, we have another, I can think of at least 1 or 2 students, again, that are near that higher range. But it's not just their age, it's the combination of factors. They're 19, 20, you know, is there a 20-year-old kid? There might be. Who, like, they want to go to work. They want to start paying bills, and, you know, it's tricky to try and steer them towards university, right? They see, the people that they live with and the people they're around are in the trades already. Those are the examples of the peoples that they see. So, you know, to offer up this idea of university study when many times they'll be the first person in their family to graduate high school is, you know, it's a little lofty sometimes for them. Of course, I always push that and give that as an option, and there are definitely excellent candidates for that. But I also think that it's valuable, the trades and vocational work is, I think, falling behind in this country. I think there are statistics that show that. So if we focus more on that, I think that would be better for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
And next, we have Dr. Hallett and the revised bullying prevention plan.
Yes. All right, let me just get these papers out of the way so I don't drop them again.
Take that hat off.
So you were presented with in your packet the updated bullying prevention and intervention plan. We realized that this plan had not been reviewed for updates in several years, and got together with our principals and our Director of Special Services, Deb Gately, to go through kind of with a fine-tooth comb to look at specifics that might need to change. And we made very small adjustments. I think we added a little bit to the communication with parents in particular. But the plan is really in great shape, and what we used was a state-provided checklist that helped us go through the plan to make sure we had all of the elements that were required for a bullying plan. The bullying and prevention plan should be reviewed every 2 years, and we will get back on that cycle. We had dropped off for a while, and now we're back on it. So hopefully you've had a chance to review it, and certainly happy to answer any questions, but our hope is that we're able to move this forward for our, to share with our staff, and that they can also provide any feedback. And certainly hope that anyone else who may be looking at this, whether it's people out in the community, we always are welcome to hear any sort of feedback that they may offer. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
No questions.
Okay.
Pauline, any questions?
None for me, thank you.
Rocky?
No.
Natalie?
Okay.
All right.
So if I may, this will be up to vote in our next meeting so that we will approve it. Thank you.
Next, we have committee discussions and votes to be taken. So we'll start with the vote to approve the fiscal year '24 school calendar with times for last day of pre-K and kindergarten.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we will move on to vote to approve school improvement plans at NHS, CPS, NIS, and NES.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And a vote to approve the December 6th, 2022 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Vote to approve donation to NHS Culinary Arts from Stephen and Carmela Loring in the amount of $100.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote to approve donation to NHS Culinary Arts from Selden Terse in the amount of $100.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to
Aye.
approve donation, thank you, Pauline, sorry. Vote to approve donation to NHS Building and Woodworking Club from Albert and Joanne Johnson in the amount of $500.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote to approve donation to CPS WCPS News Program from the Upper Deck Indian Summer in the amount of $200.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote to approve donation to CPS WCPS News Program from Nantucket Dreamland Foundation in the amount of $200.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote to approve donation to CPS WCPS News Program from Great Point Properties in the amount of $200.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Transfers and invoices. And subcommittee work group report.
If I may.
Yes.
Just, I know you hear every meeting that I hope to and plan to pull together the policy subcommittee. We will meet in the new year, and the reason why I've been holding off is very simple. We had a lot of work to do in organizing our policies, and we're realizing that there was a lot of logistical pieces, getting things on the website, updating things appropriately. And Katie Bedell, Ms. Bedell and I, your clerk, have created a new method in which we're going to be doing our policy meetings where the updates can occur electronically in vivo at the moment.
Oh, that's
So it'll be
great.
much easier than going with those big books to, you know. So I think we will try that out with our K policies in January.
Great.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. And the negotiations committee continues to negotiate. We had a meeting prior to this. I had a Cape Cod Collaborative meeting last week, and they've just are facing many of the challenges that we are here, staffing, bus drivers, et cetera. But some positive reports from some of the satellite schools. And any other committee updates? It's time for our student council representative, Natalie Mack.
Not a whole lot going on as we lead up to the holiday break. Today we had the seniors met with, there was a lot, there was like 15, maybe 20 alumni from last year that came to talk to us about their college experience, which was nice. Not too much else going on. Students and teachers are preparing for the student-led conferences, which are on January 25th, which is something we've been doing for the past couple of years. Instead of the parent-teacher conferences, it's like a student with their advisor and parents leading, just telling them about what they're doing well, what they can work on. And then we were set to have, the NHS was set to have the variety show, which is our talent show that we do at the last block before holiday break, but that was canceled, unfortunately. But we're postponed until January. And then, most importantly, the musical was cast. It's Guys and Dolls. So that will be in March. We'll get to work on that right after break.
It's exciting.
Yes. Very exciting.
Thank you. Any questions for Natalie? Oh, I'm sorry. Transfers and invoices?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I've already picked Natalie's brain. I know who was cast, so I'm good. We can vote on the agenda for the next meeting, January 10th, 2023, enrollment, budget development, athletics, NCS, music department update, budget proposal, second quarter budget report, and K policies.
Most likely, if I may, through the chair, through the acting chair. K policies when we move to the second meeting, so.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Okay, so I will strike that.
And I have one more announcement, if I may.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank one of our DLT members who will be leaving us at the end of this month, and that is Jennifer Raybold. And thank you very much, Jennifer, for working with us for the last 2.5 years. We wish you all the best in your new job back over stateside, and we will miss you. So thank you very much.
So I need a motion for the agenda for the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Good job. Oh, thank you. I know. I'm more relaxed this time.
I wasn't your anchor.